What's up everybody, Matt Maran here for another car review. This is of course the 2002 BMW M3. Huge thanks to Andre for providing me with this very nice and very clean looking M3 here to review for you guys today. So about the E46 M3, well, you guys have been requesting one of these to review for many years now, and I'm so excited to finally be able to review one. This one is in really great shape here too, and looks awesome in black, especially here. You know, you have these nice competition package wheels. This one is not the competition package, but it does have those wheels. It looks very, very good. And I just love the E46s. They've just aged so well with these fender flares, both in the front and in the rear, and just all the proportions and everything are just so classic. The lines and everything. It's a car that even now, you know, being basically 15 years old, it still looks so good, and I think it's just only going to get better with age here. And so overall, it's a really great looking car. First, for the interior of the E46 M3. Well, it's pretty cool. Anyway, first things first, sitting down in these seats, very nice feeling seats here you have in the E46 M3 with some very nice and meaty bolstering here, but it's you know, not super tight or anything, so still very comfortable, still has some wiggle room to it. So, you know, and these seats are very smooth leather as well, so I feel like you will slide around a little bit in them, but they are still very nice seats. It's nice to have the thigh extensions as well, and overall they're very comfortable too. Next to the steering wheel in the E46 M3, which is a really nice feeling thing. You know, fairly thick, not quite as thick as a modern M wheel, but still just feels really good. A perfect 9-3 grip, nice 10-2 notches. You got a couple buttons here, you know, for volume and cruise control and stuff like that. Otherwise, though, just a really you know, uncluttered and still very clean design for the steering wheel here, and it just feels great. Next to the gauges in the M3, which are very cool. You know, I love the adjustable red line that you have there whenever the engine's warming up. You can see those little grayed out tick marks. They're starting around 4,000 RPMs and going all the way down close to 8 there. And so those will continue to decrease as you know, the engine warms up, which is good. So you never you know, hurt the engine or anything like that whenever you're warming it up. But they're just very good looking gauges as well. I love, you know, the gray background with the white lettering looks very good. Again, being a car from 2002 here, it's not going to have anything very high tech or anything like that. You have a few basic little, you know, displays there at the bottom for your basics. But overall, you know, it's all the basic gauges you need there, and so really nice and attractive in the way they're presented too. Coming over to the center of the dashboard here, this is where you certainly start to feel the age of the car a little bit more. You know, you just have the basic business CD player here with a good feeling volume knob, and you know, this one does have the Harman Kardon sound system, so it would sound good, you know, if you have a CD that you're playing here, or if you wire up some other way to have, you know, audio here in the car. But you know, otherwise, you know, the radio and stuff works fine, and all the driving parts of this car don't feel dated. You know, the seats and the steering wheel and all that kind of stuff feel great, but you know, as far as infotainment stuff goes, that's definitely on the dated side. And then right below it there, you have your climate controls, which is all integrated in, so it'd be even harder to do any kind of you know, new infotainment system or anything in here. But the climate controls are, you know, very good. All the basic stuff you really see in most BMWs, even in modern times here, mostly unchanged. You know, your few basic controls, and that's about it. So very easy and straightforward there. And then you do have a few more buttons as you come down here, you know, for a sport mode there, your heated seats and stuff like that. And so again, just very simple. Again, obviously cars from 15 years ago were fairly simple without too many buttons, but this is just a very refreshing thing to sit in. As far as storage space in the E46 M3, it's okay for the time, you know. So first things first, in the door here you have a map pocket, which is good. No bottle holder, but no one in 2002 really had a bottle holder in the door there. Coming over the center, you have two little areas here. The first one up top is a decent size. It's not super deep, but you can, you know, fit some receipts and things like that in there, as you see there. And then coming down, you have your ashtray cigarette lighter type deal, and if you don't have the smoking package, you just have a little plastic tray here instead, which is good, you know, for a little additional storage. And then coming back here, you have two cup holders, although one is obscured, you know, with this armrest whenever you have it extended out here. Although this armrest does lift up, and you know, you have an additional little tray back there, so nice to have all those little spots there. But this center armrest, it's nice and covered in leather, but it's not super soft, so it is nice for resting your elbow on still, but not the softest of armrests. Anyway, you can open this up with a little push of a button, and then you have a very tiny little shallow area here where you can fit you know, your wallet, something of that size. That's probably about it. Don't think that would even really fit a smartphone of modern sizes. And so, but anyway, you know, good to have that little bit of storage there as well. And then of course, if you do want a little more storage, there is another little thing here right behind the front seats that you can also slide down there and have a little additional storage. Speaking of the back seats though, they are surprisingly roomy. You know, so I'm 5'9". Me sitting behind myself back there, I still have a couple inches of legroom to spare, which I mean for a coupe is pretty rare. So quite spacious, and the headroom is a little bit on the tighter side, but I still have, you know, probably about an inch or so of headroom there to spare too. So overall, it's you know, pretty impressive. And I think, you know, these cars had a little bit more of a bubbly roof profile and whatnot, so it's not super raked like modern cars are these days. So that allows you to have a more roomy back seat here, even in a coupe. And also, you know, with the seat belts, there isn't any kind of holder, so you know, grabbing your seatbelt is a little bit of a reach, but it's nice for those if you want to use that back seat a lot, because it means the seatbelt doesn't get in the way, so you can just, you know, flip open this seat here, it leans forward, and then you can get in and out of that back seat very, very easily. So it would be a back seat that would be pretty easy to use on a daily basis if you actually wanted to use it. Trunk space in the E46 M3 is definitely on the smaller side. That's one area that you know, has certainly been improved on with later generation M3s, but it's still enough to, you know, fit 2 suitcases in it, you know, relatively easily. Anything beyond that, you know, might be pushing it a little bit. But as you can see, the owner of this one has, you know, a bunch of detailing supplies in there, and all those types of things fit fine. It is a very wide opening too for the trunk, so it's good in that regard. It's just not very deep as far as how back it goes. So otherwise though, I mean, you know, it's enough, again, for a primarily 2-seater vehicle. I think it's totally fine. Alright, so start up and go for a drive. The E46 has the classic BMW key here with a few little buttons on it there. But anyway, you just slip it into the key slot, put your foot on the clutch, and it starts right up. Alright, so setting off in the 2002 BMW M3. Well, we got the windows down here so you can hear this UUC exhaust that this one has. This one also does have a short shift kit, which you can certainly feel here. Makes a nice bit of difference here over a standard E46 M3 as far as the notchiness and preciseness of the shifter here. But otherwise, it's pretty easy to drive. The clutch does have a good bit of weight to it, you know, but it's not super heavy. It doesn't feel like a muscle car or anything like that, but it's got a little bit more heft to it. But overall, I mean, this is just a really nice car to drive. It rides pretty smooth so far. Very good visibility as well here. You know, the E46 is very large windshield. You can see out of very well. Very large side windows, a great view out of the sides, and view out of the back is pretty good too. Alrighty, so let's turn down onto this back road here and see how it does. Here we go. Oh man, it feels good. So these glorious E46 M3s have this inline 6-cylinder engines, 3.2 liters, that has 333 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque, and just, it's a good amount of power here, especially with a 7,900 RPM red line that these things have. But as we're going around some corners here too, it handles pretty good. But anyway, getting back to that power, the 0 to 60 time for these back in the day was 5.1 seconds. So it was, you know, pretty quick even for back then. I mean, very respectable times. And even today, these are very respectable times too. So, I mean, even though the numbers don't seem very high as far as, you know, horsepower and whatnot, it was plenty to get you going down the road very quickly indeed. And this exhaust too sounds awesome. It's just awesome without the turbos, you know, cluttering up the sound of it. Just a beautiful, naturally aspirated roar of an engine. These inline sixes, just, it's such a unique and just great sounding engine. But as we're going around some corners here, one of the things I noticed here is the steering weight is pretty light, but it does feel pretty good overall. It's just, it doesn't take a whole lot of effort. It feels pretty good. Other things to note here, now these things are fairly lightweight as far as their weightness. They're about 3,400 pounds, so it feels pretty light, although although it does feel very solid as well. So it doesn't feel very lightweight, but you know, it does feel pretty good going around corners. But we'll take it around some more corners and see how it feels some more. Another thing I have to say is, even though this thing only has 262 pound-feet of torque, even at 2,500 RPMs, thanks to this being naturally aspirated, I mean, it's instant throttle response, and it just immediately starts giving you power. So, I mean, no, it doesn't like throw you in the back of your seat violently or anything, but it really, I mean, even, you know, going out of corners here, you don't have to be at super high RPMs in order to have it feel peppy. It feels powerful in the entire rev range, which is really great. And I think part of that is because of this straight six. They feel very torquey, and it's just an awesome sounding engine. Another thing to note is the brakes here in the M3. They feel pretty good. So obviously this car is a little bit older, but this one only has 64,000 miles on it, so relatively low miles. So there's a little bit of travel there in the brake pedal, and then once you get, I'd say, 1/3 to halfway down, you start to get more and more of that bite. But they do feel very good. Feel completely up to the task of slowing this car down, you know, from reasonable speeds here, and overall those feel pretty good as well. Other things to note though is the ride as I'm driving more and more, it's really smooth. I mean, we're not on super rough roads, but some of the roads a little bit earlier there weren't the best, and it's still just, it's really smooth. The steering is pretty sharp and direct as well, so you know, every little twitch of your arm, it really responds well and feels pretty sharp. It's not quite as aggressively set up as modern M cars, and so it has a little bit more of a relaxed feel to it, I will say that, but it does feel really, really good. And you know, these have the double Vanos variable valve timing, and you can kind of feel that at work a little bit whenever you get on it. It's just so linear with its power delivery. It just continues to build and build very progressively, very predictably, which is why I think drifters love these vehicles and why they're just so loved by everyone. As we're on a tight, windy little road here, I gotta say, the E46 does a very good job of putting the power down. These run 225 wide tires in the front here and 255s in the rear, and these tires are upgraded over original tires from an M3. These are now Michelin Pilot Super Sports, which certainly helps. Everyone rants and raves about those tires. They seem to just only improve just about every car you put them on, so I'm sure that certainly helps with the handling as well. But another acceleration. This thing just rips in those upper RPMs. It's so much fun. And I really love this exhaust system too. This UUC exhaust, it's different than some of the others where you don't have quite as much of the raspy sound that you get with some of the other E46 exhausts, but it's different, you know, it's a little bit deeper and just sounds really good. The volume is perfect. It's not obnoxious. It's not gonna, you know, blow your hearing out or anything like that. It's really good as far as the daily driver standpoint, but it gives you just enough volume. You can still really enjoy it, and it sounds great, especially up against these hills and whatnot. It just sounds awesome, and it's a really cool exhaust. But yeah, as I go into more and more tight corners here with the E46, it's just really nicely balanced. It just feels really, really tight, and you know, there isn't really much play in the suspension. It's just, everything is really good. I mean, like I said, the steering is really the only thing that's a little more relaxed than other M's, and that could be a little quicker to make it, you know, more sharp and aggressive, and obviously the newer ones, that's what they did. So it's a little bit more of a relaxed M experience in a way, and I like that about it, but it still has the great balance, the classic power delivery that you love. It's just, it's kind of like the best of from the, you know, former M of old that everyone says they miss and they wish that M would get back to this kind of stuff. And you know, since I just reviewed a BMW M2, the brand new kind of spiritual successor to this car, a few comparisons between those briefly here. You know, that car obviously being turbo, it's like, you know, it feels a lot faster from 4,000 RPM on, whereas this, it's more progressive in its build, which means it's less dramatic in the way that it delivers that power, which is fine. It's just, you know, the M2 is a little more unpredictable. I mean, you know when that power is going to come on, but it's just a little bit more, it's just like, oh, there's nothing, boom, there it is. Whereas this, it's like the same kind of feel all the way through, and then it does rip a little bit more towards the top end there, but it's just a little bit of a different feeling, but at the same time it's very similar. The handling of these two cars I actually find a lot of similarities with. They're both very playful in their handling, very sharp and very composed, but still very much, you know, always feeling like it's a little more on the less serious side, and I really like that. Instead of, you know, the modern M4s and stuff that are really aggressively set up and feel like you can do just about anything in them, which is awesome and very empowering and confidence inspiring. But, you know, it's just one of those things that I think you kind of lose a little bit of the fun character because it's just so impressive that you kind of get, some of the fun gets lost. Whereas this, I think it doesn't take itself super seriously and you just have fun with it. But man, it's just, this motor loves to rev. It's just such a great motor. Another thing that's really cool about these motors is they're pretty reliable. I mean, they have a couple little issues, but I actually have a personal friend that has one of these things that's well over 100,000 miles, running like a top still, and he's not one of the rare exceptions. There's lots and lots of these things well over 100,000 miles that are running great. So, I mean, not only is it a fun motor and a very exciting, you know, high redline engine here, but it's also a fairly reliable engine as well. So, you know, it's these E46s, there's a reason why people really love these things, and I can certainly see the hype now. I had driven a few of these very briefly in the past, but never had a chance to review one here, and so I'm just very excited that I was able to drive Andre's here. It's a really, really nice example too, you know, low miles, well taken care of, really clean, and it just drives really, really well. And, you know, really the only downside to these is the datedness of them, and the fact that, you know, you have an old radio, you don't have any of the modern creature comforts as far as infotainment stuff goes. But I mean, most people, you know, they just use their phone for navigation now. You clip it to the windshield or the air vent or whatever, and then you're good. So certainly nothing that's the end of the world or something you can't overcome. It's just, that's really just the only downside to it. If you want the modern amenities, I do recommend the M2. I think the M2 still does feel very similar to this, and obviously it's a little bit of a different feeling engine, but it's the same kind of fun feeling. I think the M2 really captured that fun classic M feeling again, and so yeah. But either way, I mean, just all these M vehicles are always very special. I love driving all of them. So huge thanks once again to Andre for allowing me to review his M3 here. Let me know what you guys think of my review of the M3. Finally, the E46 edition here. It's really one of the best, and you know, I'll just have to wait to drive the E36 and the E30s maybe one day to see how those feel in comparison. But as far as modern classics go, the E46 is really pretty highly ranked as one of the top ones out there. So anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.